Alright, hello YouTube. Today is the second episode, I believe, of the Utah Jazz My GM playlist. Anyways, though, it is the 2014-15 season. As you can see there, I just auto-generated the rookies, so obviously at the very start of the season. Anyways, though, my projected profit is down a little bit from last year. It's supposed to be about $6 million last year. It's only about $2 million this year. I'm not really ever going to look for a big profit unless they win a championship or something like that because of the state of this team. Anyways, though, let's go through the team. We obviously have Derek Favors. He got a lot better. He went from a 77 overall to an 86. Gordon Hayward, he got a lot better. I signed him to a pretty big contract. And by the way, I was talking about this. I hinted on the kind of contract I wanted to give him. I wanted to give him no more than $9 million, and I actually got him at about 8.3 a year. So I got him just at what I wanted to sign him to, and that works out great for me. It works out great for him. It works out great for everybody, and he's a great player too. So I could definitely see him being a major part of this team going forward. And I'm kind of happy that both these players realize, not really Derek Favors, but he realizes how much he was worth when he signed the contract, which I like about that. But Gordon Hayward, he definitely realized, at least in the game, he realized. And I honestly think in real life he's also going to realize. I think he's more of a humble kind of guy. But he realized how much he was worth on a team like this. You're not worth $30 million on a team like this. You're not worth $20 million on a team like this. You're worth at most maybe $15 million for a superstar. That's the problem with a low market team like this, the Utah Jazz, even in real life, especially in real life, because of the marketability that happens in Utah. You know, LeBron James, he'll be big in Utah. Yeah, he'll be big anywhere, but he's not going to be as big in Utah as he is in LA or Miami or New York or even Boston. But by the way, I'm not hinting that I want him to go there. I do not want LeBron in Boston. Just throwing that out there. Anyways, if you haven't checked out the first video to this, I would advise checking it out. Not really a big deal, but I had made about 3 or 4 trades, so I would check it out. Anyways, Trey Burke, he got a lot better from a 73 all the way up about 10 points to an 82. Dario Saric, I drafted him in the draft. We ended up having 3 draft picks, the 10th, the 20th, and the 28th. I believe it was the Spurs and the Rockets draft picks, so that's how we got 20th and 28th pick. I actually had, at some point along the season, I had the option to trade for a Boston Celtics pick. And at the time, I was kind of thinking, we might do worse than the Boston Celtics. Why even risk it? Well, they ended up getting the first overall pick, so that really sucked. We ended up getting Dario Saric, not a bad player by any means, but nowhere near as good as Joel Embiid, who was the guy I was actually going to draft, had we gotten that first overall pick. Anyways, though, next up we got Alec Burks. He got a lot better. I wouldn't say a lot better, but about from like a 74 overall to an 80. That's definitely that 6-man spot that I wanted to see him at. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put Trey Burke starting point guard, and I'm going to put Gordon Hayward starting starting shooting guard. Derek Favors, I want to put him at the starting power forward spot, and Dario Saric, I want to start the starting small forward. And I also want to have Enes Kanter at starting center. And that's going to be my starting lineup. Not a very strong starting lineup, but it will allow for growth from these young players. As you can see, that's pretty much all rookies and sophomores, or at least under 5 years through that starting lineup. So that's pretty young. Probably one of the youngest in all of basketball, actually in real life too. Anyways, though, Andrea Bargnani, I don't really know if I plan on trading him. He doesn't have an expiring contract, so it's not really a big deal to me. If I was really worried about the contract, I would have got rid of it last year, but I didn't make any signings in the offseason because I only had about $2 million of cap room with that low amount of cap space that the Utah Jazz allows because of how low marketed the team is, low funded the team is because of its location. Anyways, though, everybody really got better. I drafted C.J. Wilcox and Gary Harris. Yeah, forgot to talk about him. I also drafted Gary Harris. He's honestly probably going to be like a backup shooting guard, and I'm probably going to have Alec Burks the backup point guard. I believe I talked about that, or at least hinted at that I was going to put Alec Burks into the backup point guard spot instead of the backup shooting guard. That works out better for me. If it doesn't end up working out, then I can trade either one of them. They're both pretty solid trade pieces. Both have a lot of potential, and they're both pretty solid as they are. So that really is a golden opportunity to blossom this team into just about anything I want. Like I said, Andrea Bargnani, it's not a big deal if I trade him. I get $12 million of cap relief if I do trade him. I mean, if I do just keep him on the team and let his contract expire. I don't plan on winning a championship this year or anything, but I do plan on going at least into the playoffs and getting a decent, maybe like a second-round pick. No, not second-round pick, sorry. Second-round playoff spot. That would be nice, at least to, claim that ground for the Utah Jazz. If I do end up going to the playoffs, I'm most likely going to fight hard and try and get a championship. Even for as weak as we are, I personally think that I can do enough to at least get us to the championship. I'm not going to guarantee that or anything, but I think that we could if I really pushed for it. Luke Richard, he got not a lot better. He got about 3 points better. Not really a big upgrade, but he definitely didn't downgrade, which is a big part about that. He's going to be my backup small forward spot, and Andrea Bargnani, he's backup power forward spot. And then I'm obviously going to have Ryan Turioff as a backup center just because of his defense. I mean, that's why I traded for him. I don't know if I traded for him in the first video or if I traded for him, when I wasn't recording. I made another trade. That's how I got Andrea Bargnani, by the way. It was Deontay Garrett, Richard Jefferson for Andrea Bargnani, and a 15 first-round pick from the Knicks. We already got the 14 first-round pick when we took on Pablo Prioni. And I believe I traded Pablo Prioni for Ronnie Turioff. And I believe I also traded a 14 second-round pick to get Ronnie Turioff. So that's how we got Ronnie Turioff. I know he's not a great player, but he does have that post defense. And at the time, we really needed it. We honestly still need it. So it's a great thing to have, especially on a team that's weak all around. Marco Bellinelli and Ian Clark, they're just going to be my bench warmers. They're not really anything to brag about. They're not anything to complain about either, especially for the contract that Ian Clark has. He's definitely worth $816K. So C.J. Wilcox, I also drafted him. I believe 28th pick. So he's the guy from Washington, I think. I keep on getting confused because there's like C.J. Fair, T.J. Warren. I know T.J. Warren's not from Washington, but it's either C.J. Fair or C.J. Wilcox. But I think it's C.J. Wilcox. He's from Washington. He's like the most disgusting three-point shooter in all of the college basketball. And not that I'm over exaggerating that, but he is extremely good at three-point shooting. Honestly, I really would have liked to get Doug McDermott or Nick Stauskas instead of some of these other guys. I probably would have drafted Doug McDermott over Dario Saric. I don't know if that actually would have been better or worse. I think that honestly would have been a little bit worse to draft Doug McDermott because he's just an offensive powerhouse and just about nothing else. But to be honest with you, Doug McDermott went way too early and Nick Stauskas went way too early. Nick Stauskas was the first overall pick. I don't know how that worked out because he's only rated like a 70-something, like low 70s in the game because I obviously made the draft class. So I don't know how that worked out. Anyways, though, for trades, I honestly see this team as being a solid team now. I can't even say solid. Being a decent team, mid-level team, a team that's going to compete, maybe get in the playoffs, maybe not. Not do anything that's going to be able to brag about. Once again, probably get a lower pick. That's probably what I'm going to aim for, maybe mess up the rotations a little bit and try and get us a little bit worse. I have all these guys, at least all the guys who I want, are going to be inked for multiple years. So I'm not really worried about that. Only guys in his cancer, I'm not, I'm kind of on the fence about him. He does have an expiring contract. Let's actually see here if he's going to... Alright, yeah, he wants to get a contract extension. I would love to get a contract extension. It depends on how much he wants, though. So actually, I can see, I believe I can see, yeah, okay. Let's see right now how much he wants. If he wants like $11 million or something, I don't think I can do that. All right, he wants about $10 million a year. That's a decent-sized contract. To be honest, though, I don't know if I want to pay him specifically that amount of money. That is a little bit... That's kind of trading contracts with Andrea Bargnani. I obviously like Enes Kanter more than Andrea Bargnani, but he didn't have a lot of growth in the starting center position. I believe he started center last year, so that's I'm kind of on the fence about this. To be honest, though, I do see where he's coming from. I'll give him the money that he wants. I will. Okay, so he's in Utah now. With that being said, though, that does not mean I'm not going to trade him. I may trade him for somebody else. I may trade him for an expiring contract. I may trade him for, somebody who can fit better in Utah. I think he's a decent fit, but you have a 10 million contract here, an 8 million contract here, and an 11 million contract here. That's for multiple years for all these guys. That's a big amount of numbers. That's like $30 million, just in contracts for these 3 players. There's 50 million in cap room. So you add up everybody else, that's probably going to be a good 26 million if you added in Enes Kanter's contract for next year, which is going to be about 4 million more. So I'm on the fence about this. If a good trade comes along, I may very well trade him. But he's a younger player with a pretty solid core right now. So I probably will keep him. But once again, it's not really that big of a deal if I get rid of him. It is a big deal, don't get me wrong. But it's not like he needs to stay on the team. If I get an offer that's better than Enes Kanter, I'll take it. I really will. But obviously, all these potentials for all these players, I don't know how they all have A+ potentials, but they do. So that's a good thing for this team, I guess. Anyways, though, that's it for this video. I didn't really talk about what I was gonna do with moves and stuff, but honestly, I'm probably gonna keep this team, see what offers I get. If anything, I'll probably lose, I guess, but trade away Andre Bargnani and Luke Richard. Other than that, though, maybe trade away like Marco Bellinelli or Ian Clark. I'm not going to get too much in return for them, so I'm probably not going to, force a trade with them. But definitely for Andre Bargnani and Luke Richard, I will try to get a trade with them. Everybody pretty much above them, I'm going to kind of keep off limits, other than probably Alec Burks, even Gary Harris and Enes Kanter. So everybody from Darius Saric up is 100% really off limits, unless they get a really good trade offer. But that's going to have to be like really good. So anyways, though, that's it for this video. Comment what you think that I should do. Comment if you think that these plans are going to work out. Anyways, though, next video will probably end up being maybe in the playoffs, maybe next season. I don't really know. I haven't made up my mind on whether I'm going to really try or not. So, I don't know. Anyways, though, make sure you subscribe. And if you haven't checked out that first video, I would really check it out. It's a couple trades that maybe you'll be interested in to see how I got to this position in the first place. Alright, thanks guys. I'll see you later.